So we're ready to start. Hello, everyone. I'm very glad to welcome all of you on our HR automation and digital HR course. And today we have class number 1, Core HR, and what to automate and criteria for selecting systems. So this is a course program. We will start from Core HR, and then on the class number 2, we will talk about ATS and recruitment automation. Then we will be talking about automation of performance management, which could consist of OKR, one-on-ones, performance reviews, 360-degree feedback, pulse surveys. On class number 4, we will be talking about LMS or learning automation. Class number 5, we'll be talking about Workplace, Slack, Confluence, Trello, Asana, or team automation. So we will consider different tools for teamwork. Then on class number 6, we will talk about chatbots for HR because it's becoming more and more popular. And finally, on class number 7, we will talk about artificial intelligence like ChatGPT for HR. And with this course, as you can see, we will cover all main directions of HR automation, and we will learn different tools. We will learn what kind of features they could have, how to apply them, how to introduce them into your company, and other stuff. And of course, we will be seeing examples. Class number 1 has following program. So we will start from system classification, where to look for solution providers, overview of domestic and foreign providers, evolution of systems, what to automate first, drawing up criteria for selecting a system, and selection of systems to automate basic HR processes, data accounting, organizational structure, and so on. So let me introduce myself so you know me better. My name is Mike Pritula, and I started my HR journey from Alpha Bank as a recruiter and trainer. So I hired people and then I trained them to be point of sales agents. And then I changed several jobs there. I became just a recruiter, then senior recruiter, then HR business partner. Then I switched to STB, one of the biggest European TV channel in the Starlight Media Group, and I became HR director. And then I worked at Wargaming company, which is game development company. Then I worked for Preply. I helped them to build the whole HR system from the scratch and did the same for Ideals. And then PeopleForce, which is all-in-one HR platform. I helped them with the feature list. I consulted them how to introduce different features, especially in performance management. And then I created Mike Pritula Academy. We have more than 120 courses. It's like probably up to 10 years now, and we taught 10,000 students over the world. In my work, I rely on best practices. This is just a set of companies I follow, not all of them, but I highly recommend you to do the same, just to follow these companies, to read their surveys, to learn from them, and so on. And as on all of our courses, we have homework or home assignments that you need to complete to receive your diploma. So be careful and do all your homeworks. It will help you to obtain our diploma. We issue our diploma online on very popular platform, and you may add this diploma to your LinkedIn profile. So let's start from this interesting fact. Over 3 billion people works all over the world now. 3 billion people. That's a lot. But the question is how? As HR, we could influence on how people work, right? We could influence their performance, their motivation and engagement, also loyalty, and actually the overall way they work and they perceive the work. And talking about HR automation is how we actually influence, because as HR, we have so many tools, right? So we can introduce some policies and practices We may influence on how we hire people, how we teach them, how we retain them, how we motivate them, but also, we could influence their work on what kind of tools we use and what kind of tools we introduce to the company. There is another idea, which is employee experience. And employee experience, as it's known, it consists of three areas: physical environment, tech environment, and cultural environment. And on this course, we are talking about the tech environment, one out of three main employee experience focuses or areas. So there are a lot of things happening in how people work. For example, employee engagement is declining, especially after COVID. So by Gallup, only 15% in the world employees are engaged, which is very low. A lot of time is spent on processes that are not automated. Imagine yourself washing dishes with your hands, not with dishwashing machine, or doing other home stuff without any automation. I think you don't like it, right? So you prefer to use all these automations like microwave oven, dishwashing machine, and other stuff. Companies are losing in the labor market to high-tech or IT companies in attractiveness. People prefer to work for Google, for Facebook, for Tesla, for Amazon. If you are in a classic business, if you are in a production or retail business or industry, pharmaceutical industry, they are not so attractive. All surveys and researches show that. Employee loyalty is reduced. On average, ENPS, which is Employee Net Promoter Score, is around at 0 in general, right? Because there are some companies with high NPS, there are some companies with lower NPS, but in average, it's like 0. The process of new employee onboarding and knowledge transfer is not digitized in so many companies. Access to HR best practices is limited for so many companies and countries and HR managers. Implementation of new processes is time-consuming, and employees do not want to use corporate systems. So we have so many problems and difficulties and obstacles, but if we do the correct things, if we go in the correct way, we can solve almost all of this. And with the help of HR automation, we can do a lot. For example, talking about engagement, right? So let's take the very first, employee engagement. Josh Bersin introduced three levels of employee engagement management. Engagement 1.0, engagement 2.0, and engagement 3.0. It's like an evolution of engagement, right? And moving from engagement 1.0 to engagement 2.0 and even engagement 3.0 can't be realized without HR automation. Let's see. Engagement 1.0 means we do the top-down annual engagement survey. Actually, we need a little automation like Google Forms, and that's just enough. So Google Forms will be enough to run once a year engagement survey and do some actions. But if we want to move to engagement 2.0, then we need pulse surveys tech and better with intelligent sensing. Here, of course, you may run pulse survey on weekly basis with help of Google Forms, but it will be difficult to manage the results and to somehow react to those marks and scores. So you need something else. You better need some solution which could track all this engagement on weekly basis and could make some reporting and could give some insights. But if you want to move to engagement 3.0 with intelligent nudges, focus on everyone, taking data from many sources and connecting to different systems, then you need AI, and then you need total HR automation, right? So without HR automation, it's very hard to solve this kind of problems. Actually, these problems are not just the limit. There are much more different problems in companies. But with the help of HR automation, some of them could be easily fixed. And that's why we should consider and implement these HR automation tools in our work. Then HR trends from Deloitte. I said that I monitor a lot of different researches, surveys, best practices, and so on. And here are some examples. You see the Gallup company, now it's Deloitte. HR trends from Deloitte for several years are talking about that integrating AI into the workplace is one of the main trends and focuses for the companies. And again, how you can integrate AI without any HR automation? Like, how you can imagine that? Of course, it's not possible. Now let's consider what kind of system are there that HR could observe and consider to introduce. I divide all systems on several layers, and some of them I consider as necessary, and some of them are optional, but I would recommend to introduce all of them. So first, it's core HR. Core HR means you solve basic HR problems like employee data and organizational structure and vacation and all kind of requests management and so on. And then you can forget about Excel, because when you have a list of your employees in Excel, it's very difficult to deal with that information. Then talent acquisition. You don't need to store all resumes locally on your drive with folders. You may much better manage all candidates with the help of talent acquisition. And modern systems could even help you to find best talents, to rank them, to evaluate them, to give you some advices, to create personalized messages, to send those messages, to introduce fluent interview scheduling and other stuff. Then it's like, I consider this like a basic, right? So I can't imagine modern company with this without this too. Then you need to introduce learning and development. No, because offline is no longer learning. People do everything online. Then performance and engagement management for OKR, for other stuff, because KPIs are dead when they sit in Excel without access for employees on daily basis. They don't work. And communications. No one reads mails anymore. So we need some tools for communications. So this is a modern stack of HR professional. Talking about, it's like by functions, by talking about by systems, there are several types of these systems. First, it's ATS, applicant tracking systems, which are for talent acquisition. Then, all-in-one that could cover core HR plus all of this. We will consider in details later today. Then we have corporate systems. They have a little bit difference. Then we have multifunctional system, learning management system, and single system with just single feature. So let's start from learning how we can apply them, how we can use them, and let's learn what to automate first. I want to share my personal example, introducing different systems and using different systems in these two companies, Preply and Ideals. So in Preply and at Ideals, we used Bamboo HR for core HR feature, also onboarding, offboarding, and analytics. Then we used 15.5 for OKR management, one-on-one meetings, and high fives. It's like peer-to-peer recognition. Then we used Lever. Actually, we started from Breeze HR in Preply, then we changed Breeze HR with Lever, and at Ideals we used Lever for recruiting. Zoom Calendly were our supporting tools for communications, for interview scheduling. Workplace by Meta was for event broadcasting And workplace worked even better at Wargaming because Wargaming was the bigger company, 4,000 employees, for connecting all people around the world in different. I think there were 15 offices at the time. So the workplace helped us to connect people around the world. But for pre-planned ideals, we have less remote employees, but it helped us to broadcast our all hands meetings. Slack as messaging platform for informing. Confluence we were using for LMS and knowledge base. Ellen, it was a bot that we experimented with. And Trello for HR teamwork. So this was our HR tech stack. Evolution of systems. All these systems, they evaluated, they did evolution over the time. First, it started from personal data, like SAP, SuccessFactors, and Workday was the main systems, and they provided these basic solutions. Then ATS appeared, applicant tracking systems like Cleverstaff, Patok, Breezy, HR and so many others. Then talent management and analytics like Fuel 50, Zoho People, People Goal. Then performance and engagement management appears like 15.5, 7Gs, Culture Amp. And also, actually, Culture Amp started like post survey, but they later introduced other modules and became performance and engagement management as well. But past survey appeared one of the list and one of the latest, and they among the latest were Culture Ramp and Office Survive. Chatbots, which were Erin and Eva, one of the first. This was closed and this was sold. And AI-based products like Spoke, PeopleForce, and others that provide even more options. Also, the evolution of functions. They all started from just data storage. Then they helped to transaction with transaction automation, like leave request and other stuff. Then they started to do process automation, like onboarding. Then outcome automation, like solving even more complex people problems. Then AI HR, coaching, prompting, autopilot and navigation, predicting the future. And it's happening now and it will be even more developed in the upcoming future, HR Copilot. So some of basic HR work could be replaced with HR solutions. So it's going to be humanless HR. It doesn't mean company will not have HR people at all. They will have, but some of their work will be replaced with help of AI. So people could focus on more difficult issues and more on human issues rather than just serving for HR processes. So let's consider also this. Who is HR? We considered how all these HR systems gone through evolution, how they developed, how they solved different problems. Let's consider how HR changed over the time and what's the HR role right now with all of this happening in the world. So the day before yesterday, it's like a metaphor. HR was kind of personal officer. It was about registration of employment contracts and books of employment, receiving questionnaires from those wishing to work in the company, placement of vacancies on job sites, so very administrative work. Yesterday, HR was in the form of HR manager with such responsibilities like recruitment and adaptation, sending employees for training, organizing different events. Today, HRs, they are more like business partners. They develop HR strategy, they manage employee value proposition, they increase engagement, they do HR analytics, they provide business with business insights about people. And tomorrow, something will change. What's happening right now in the world? The government has abandoned paper-based document flow, right? So many governments, they are going online and being digitalized. Electronic driver's licenses are introduced. A number of banks have introduced the ability to pay with face in stores. Monobank, for example, has no branches at all. Is there a place in this world for manual HR work? How you think? Of course not. No, there is no place for manual HR work that we do now for some companies, in some companies, without any HR automation. So what HR should be doing then in the future? What is expected for HR to do? If HR doesn't lead automation today, if HR will not start using AI in the work, there will no longer be a profession called HR. We can't just wait, right, until we be replaced with software. We need to take some actions. We need to lead this HR digital revolution and AI revolution. We need to learn how to work with HR software and with artificial intelligence just to remain in the profession and just to remain this profession in the world. So what we at HR be doing? Actually, this character from Billions TV series, she very well shows how HR could work, right? Because she is focusing not administrative tasks, but rather on employee performance and employee coaching. They don't show us HR automation because the company is small and it's not the main idea of this TV series, but add some HR automation to her role and you will have the picture of perfect HR in the future. So what will HR be doing? Architecture of HR processes and communication with business, negotiation and persuading candidates, providing human touch, because people always need human touch. Conflict resolution, demonstrating behavior, being like a role model, and inspiration. This is the role of the future HR. Also, people are talking about different problems when it comes to HR software. Sometimes there are no language required. Sometimes where there is enough language set, there are little functionality. Sometimes they call it expensive, but now these problems are being solved, especially with the help of AI. AI could easily translate to any language and communicate with any language. And then you solve this problem as well. But the price, it's everything comparable, right? Because we should compare price not just to something else, but to human labor price. If you pay employee $1,000 per month, so not as big, why we can't pay $10 or even $20 for HR automation per employee per month? This is just a small addition to what we already pay. So also there are very big revolution and very big development in the chatbots, right? Chatbots are taking this main scene. So level one of HR automation chatbots, they only have after response, or information collection forms, performs only one function. Level two, it's about scenarios. They have variants of events development, can accumulate and process simple data. Level 3 of HR chatbots, integrations. They're able to work with other internal company systems and transfer information to or from them. Level 4 is more an interface. Are not a bot, but only a way to transfer with data between the user and another system, for example, PeopleForce bot. And level 5, interface plus AI plus business process management. Advanced bots that have strong admin part, database, integration with other systems, process building, visualizer, and artificial intelligence algorithm, like Handy AI. So how artificial intelligence can be useful? Talking about artificial intelligence is very important during this course because so many systems are starting using artificial intelligence. We even have the separate course, which is called AI in HR work. And you know, there are tons of different HR software for every direction: recruitment, sourcing, onboarding, talent management, performance management, and other stuff. Like, and every day, at least one new HR software is starting using AI in the work. So artificial intelligence can make interactions with the employee more lively, So they can chat with employees, having all the data and pulling all data from HR system. Predict future events by comparing past situations and giving insights to managers, to employees, to HR. Provide information when it is relevant to the employee. So there are a lot of examples how AI actually already help us. So if you have Gmail and you buy air ticket, then it will tell you when to leave for the airport. We have already auto replies in LinkedIn and Gmail. They suggest auto replies. Siri can add an event to your calendar. Tesla Autopilot is your personal driver. Sorry. You see, this is true. Netflix knows how to suggest you a movie based on your interests. Banks can block suspicious transactions based on their behavior, and Facebook shows posts and ads based on our preferences. How artificial intelligence can be useful in HR. Imagine an artificial intelligence that could track employee burnout in time, predict the risks of dismissal, find tasks that an employee is not performing effectively, provide information and training content when an employee needs it, improve team collaboration, provide clues to the manager when they need to praise an employee. Then how to justify to a business the need to invest in automation. With an average employee salary, I think this is like the lowest, $500 per month, and implementation of the basic package. The effect from automation of routine process will save the employee at least 5% of time, which with $500 per month would be $25 per month. So ROI would be $25 is divided by $1. Actually, $1 is what we pay for HR system, and by 100%, we have 2,500%, right? So it's very high ROI. Or we may consider like this. So when we don't use any HR software, we like, people before invention of the wheel. And additional business effects. Business could also benefit from reduction of staff turnover by predicting their turnover, acceleration of adaptation all employees with the onboarding checklist, high attractiveness of the company for Y and Z generations, more arguments for decision making for the manager, 10% of employees' time is freed due to automation, 2 times less time spent on employee training. For every 300 employees, one less HR specialist is needed. How to successfully implement the project? When you implement all these projects, of course, you need to implement this smoothly. So several tips for this. Focus on user experience. Choose the system which is user-friendly, right? Which is not outdated with the interface and the flow. Create the pilot group to test the system before you buy the system as a whole. Engage power users. By power users, we mean people who are supportive to what you implement and who have a lot of connections in the company so they can sell the idea of share automation to others. Think about what the benefits are for employees. Start with the most important functions for people and use change management approach, unfreeze, change, and freeze. So there is a several approach how to implement changes, and so don't hesitate to use them. Compilation of system selection criteria. So when you want to choose the system for your company, it's very important to develop your selection criteria. This is example of my selection criteria when I was looking for different HR solutions at Preply at Ideals and Ideals. You may take this and then add something, change something, maybe delete something, but then compare all systems against this list, right? Even introduce like a scorecard, write scores for every system. Where to look for solution providers? There are several directions, right? So the most popular are G2, which were G2 Crowd previously, and Capterra. You may also use Quora or Reddit. You may also analyze sites like Josh Bersin. You may also consider Facebook groups as well and ask for experience. Overview of domestic providers. For core HR, you may consider PeopleForce, Furma, and USpace. For talent management, Effie and Ply as well. For ATS, Clever Stuff, Persia, TurboHile, TalentScan, PeopleForce, and Furma, they have this feature. For LMS, Softbook, Academy, Ocean, Smart Expert. And foreign providers, for core HR, you may consider Bamboo HR, Cake HR, Zoho, and Hybop. For talent management, PeopleGoal, Purdue, Saba, Lumis, 15.5, CultureAmp, and 7Gs, which is now bought by another company. For ATS, Recruitee, Breezy, Commit, Lever, Workable, Greenhouse, and Gem. For LMS, Docebo, Talent LMS, and Moodle. For evaluation, there are also some interesting tools like Assess First. For communication and teamwork, you may consider Zoom, Workplace, Trello, Slack, Calendly, Confluence, Asana, and Jira. Selection of system for automation of basic HR processes. So let's now talk about basic HR processes like data accounting, organizational structure, and management of absence. What I recommend you choose from? Um, you may live in any country in the world, no matter where you live, but I would recommend you to consider only these two systems, which are the best of the best. First, it's PeopleForce, and then if you want to compare to something, I recommend you to compare to Bamboo HR. I worked with this tool, I know them well, and I see that these two are the best solutions for yourself. Now the homework. Make your own list of criteria for selecting an automation system and find 10 systems not listed in this presentation and briefly review them. That's it for today. On class number 2, we will be talking about ATS and recruitment and automation. And this is about presentation. And now, as I promised, I'm going to do some demo. And today we are talking about core HR. So I'm going to show you PeopleForce as core HR solution. It actually has several features. Let's first learn how they structure their feature. So this is a PeopleForce size. What kind of product they have? They have People HR as a core HR system. Then they have People Recruit as ATS, People Perform as performance management, People Pulse as engagement management, People Desk as ticketing system, and People Time for managing time, and also reporting analytics. We will be talking about People HR today, and we will see some basic features to understand what we could expect from HR automation. And talking about the price, if we start just with People HR, let's say we have 100 employees, it will cost you just $1.5 per employee per month. So for 100 employees, this is going to be 150. And if you pay on yearly basis or annual basis, it's even more cheaper. It's even cheaper. You will pay just $1.2 per employee per month. And if you have even more employees, like let's say more than 500 employees, you may ask for more discounts. So let's watch how it works inside. This is a standard screen, like a starting screen, home screen. Here we have basic information. We have news timeline, so we can add some announcements, some posts here, and we can choose who will see this. We may enable comments. We may ask to notify via Slack, via web notification and email. We may even schedule this, right? So we write title, we add some content, we may add a picture, some conditions. So for example, we want only some group of employees to see this, so we have different conditions to choose from. And then people will see this as a news, so they can react, they can comment. You may create permits and roles who can post this. And we also make very quick polls for people just to vote for something. Also, we have personal employee to-do list, our annual leave information, agenda, who is out today, and company links. Also, we have notifications here, right? So we see all notifications, and we have settings and help center and the rest. So this is a main screen. Then we have several additional tabs here. Recruitment is for ATS, so we will not consider this today. Performance is for performance management. Again, we will skip this for today. Surveys is for engagement management. We will skip, but we will see the rest like this. So let's click Me. Here I have my approvals that are awaiting for my reaction, my agenda tasks, my vacancies, if I'm a hiring manager, my reviews, if I'm participating in performance review, upcoming time off, my KPIs, objectives if I'm using OKR system. And then I have calendar, which I can see, my one-on-ones, KPIs, objectives, reviews, interviews, forms. So we can create different forms and cases. Then I have feature, if I'm using time management feature, I can clock in, right? Then tasks. Tasks is something that I can create for others. So I can create a task so other people should do something and then report. Or I can receive task to perform. Then we have directory. Directory is a list of employees, right? So you can see all of our employees. There are different view by teams. We can create as many teams as we want, and it supports matrix organization. So for example, here we have standard functional chart, but then we want group people in products or in regions or in divisions. So we may use teams and create another layer of structure. And we may assign team lead, right? So it's up to you who you add to the team. Yeah, this is a structure view, which is very useful. You may open any department, close any department, you may enter full screen, you may print. And here we also have people on onboarding checklist. Onboarding checklist is the core feature. And we have offboarding people and their checklist. We may create these checklists in settings direction. What also we have calendar. We may see different holidays, absence. We may see some anniversaries, birthdays, as you can see here. This is just a sample data, and that's why I don't have a lot of information, but you can see what is shown here, right? I'm skipping recruitment and performance because it's not about the core HR. Then we have forms. We may create different forms. Projects. We may work with projects. Surveys, another topic. Documents. We can create documents. Assets, right? So we may assign assets to employees. Then we have knowledge base. So we may add some information, even some courses. Then we have cases. People can create case, and we may organize the work with the case. Then we can create workflows, and there are also reports. A lot of different reports, like termination and other reports. Then we have settings, and a lot of different settings. And yeah, that's it. This is the main features of such a system. Now coming back to the presentation. So the homework, either make your own list of criteria for selecting an automation system, or find 10 systems not listed in the presentation and briefly review them. That's it for today. Next time we will talking about ATS and recruitment automation. Thank you for attention and see you soon. I'm waiting for homework. Bye.